Welcome, true believers, to Badwolf Comics. I'm your host, the Badwolf, and today we're going to take a look at the custom PlayStation Anthology Omnibus. Welcome back, true believers, to another Badwolf Comics custom omnibus video. I put a poll up on the Badwolf Comics Facebook group asking which one of these custom omnibus you folks wanted to see next, and the PlayStation custom omnibus won by a landslide of 40% of those votes, so here we are. And the reason I had this commissioned was because I'm a huge PlayStation gamer. I play on PlayStation and PC. I don't play on Xbox anymore because everything Xbox releases comes to PC and it just runs better on my PC anyway. So, this book really, I discovered that Last of Us, which is one of my favorite games, had a short run, like I think it was like 6-issue run of comics, which is never going to be put into a hardcover. It's never going to come into oversize. But I've got several books here. We've got some God of War. I've got Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, Resistance Fall of Man, Uncharted, and one of my all-time favorite game series, which I wish they would do a reboot of, is the Legacy of Kain series. Blood Omen Legacy of Kain was one of my very first PlayStation games that I ever played on the original PlayStations, and I was hooked. So, but let me stop talking, let's get into this, and we'll take a look at this beautiful book. Alright, it's been a long time coming. This is our custom PlayStation Comics Anthology Omnibus. Take a look at the dust jacket here. Now, the dust jacket actually had a couple of variations. He had a black one that had like an outline of a PlayStation 1. Normally, I really like that design, but it was really about all of PlayStation, not just PS1. He did keep that cover for display purposes. I'm not sure what else, but this is what we landed on in the end. Here's our spine. And here's our back. Did a great job, man. I really love the designs on this. And we did get our Badwolf Comics branding. This was actually my commission. A lot of times, like with the Marvel DC crossovers or the DC versus Marvel books, those were reprints that someone else came up with, and I just went, I have to have those. This was actually a book that I came up with that I really wanted to do as a passion project, because The Last of Us is one of my favorite games, and they had a 1-to-6 issue comic run, and I wanted to make sure I got that in an omnibus format because I know it's never going to happen. This is the dust jacket, so we'll get that off. Take a look at the beautiful artwork on the cover. Let's get that out of the way. And we really wanted to go with kind of like the PlayStation does when they do their games. They have that kind of like, you know, diagonal bar of all the games out. So we kind of wanted to copy that, but we used the actual comic art. Looks really nice. I really like it. So this book collects issues from God of War, The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted, Legacy of Kain, and Resistance Fall of Man. These are all games that I played and I've loved. They finally got comics, so I wanted to make sure to immortalize that in an omnibus. Let's take a look. So, this is all custom made. These are matte pages. They're not glossy or anything, and it's a glued binding. See there? Glued binding. Matte pages. So let's just kind of flip through and dig in, see what we got here. Now, this first one is the God of War. Now, I didn't really care for the art here, but in some of the later books, it does get better. It's very dark here. Like, you can't really see a whole lot of what's going on, which is probably the point of, and the tone they wanted to set for the book, and that's fine. Still looks great. Haven't read this one yet. I actually skipped right ahead to The Last of Us and read that and read The Legacy of Kain because, you know, I'm a junkie for that stuff. But it looks really good. I'm a really big fan of God of War. I've played every God of War since they came out. I don't think there's ever been a God of War release that I haven't played. I jumped to Xbox briefly during the 360 era, but once I discovered Gears of War. Not only that, but when the PlayStation 2 came out, I went through 10 of them. I'm not exaggerating, 10 PlayStation 2s. The reason for that is because while they say they can play DVDs, they cannot. It burns out their drives. So for the PS3, I was a little wary. I skipped that and went to Xbox 360. But I came back with a PS4, and I've been stuck since because Xbox, everything they release, I can play on my PC, which is great. I wish Sony did the same. Well, they're starting to. After a year or two, they're going to start releasing their big hits on PC. I've already got several of them already, including God of War, Spider-Man, and several others, and Last of Us. All right, yep. So this is classic Kratos getting in trouble with monsters and gods and slaying all of them. Here we get into the Norse story with Atreus. I won't spoil who Atreus really is for those of you that haven't played, but I'm telling you guys, for those of you that are gamers, you are missing out if you're not playing the new God of War series. It's so amazing. The Norse story is probably the best God of War stuff I've ever seen in my life. It's really good. You guys should check it out. And see, the art is much better here in the Norse story than it was in the original. I can see things. It's clear. It's got brighter colors. Much better story. Much easier to read. Is Atreus flipping his dad off here? It kind of looks like he's giving him the finger. He might be. I'll have to read this one and find out. I skipped ahead to Last of Us, so I haven't read this yet. But great, much better art. Hoping the story's a lot better. Yeah, man, God of War, such a great story in the games. You should really check it out. Especially Ragnarok was a masterpiece. Both the games were really masterpieces, but Ragnarok really took the series to new heights. I'm not sure what they're going to do after Ragnarok, but I am eagerly waiting to see what they do next. Because we know it's not over. Something's going to happen next. Either Atreus is going to get his own game, or Kratos will go off to other adventures, which would be weird, just ditching his son. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get to the end of our God of War here. There's a lot. God of War was a lot. Okay, now this was the entire reason I had this book made. Last of Us is one of my all-time favorite games. I really did drink the Kool-Aid. Last of Us, in my opinion, is one of the greatest stories ever told in a video game. I can't wait for Last of Us 3. I know they're making one. The show was phenomenal. They did some minor changes, but overall they seem to work out. I really like the show, so if you haven't seen the show, give that a shot too. Now, it seems like video game books always just grab a random artist. Now, I don't have a huge problem with this art, but I can't explain what it is, but something about it bugs me. It's still good enough that it's readable. It has a good story. It's got actually a prequel story when Ellie was much younger. But the writing was really good. The story was really good, so I can get over I don't know, something's wrong with her face. I don't like how they drew her head. But other than that, it's still great. Great stuff. I'm really glad I had this made. It's just a 6-issue run that will never get a hardcover treatment. We know this. They're not going to hardcover treatment that stuff. And now that I've said that and I've made this book, you watch. Neil Druckmann's going to drop Naughty Dog is going to drop a new book. Be like, here it is in hardcover. But that's okay. Here's Ellie just getting raw. Man, she's not messing around. That's why we like Ellie. I actually named one of my cats after her. I have a cat named Ellie. She's nothing like her, though. She's kind of a wimp. It's good stuff, though. But for those of you that are gamers, man, let me know down in the comments below. What's your favorite game out of this? God of War, Last of Us, Horizon, Uncharted, Legacy of Kain, Resistance, Fall of Man. What do you guys enjoy playing? Are you gamers? Do you guys not care about gaming? I mean, I want to know your opinions. Let me hear about it. All right, next we have Horizon Zero Dawn, another great PlayStation exclusive. I really enjoyed this game. I haven't read this story yet. Like I said, I skipped after The Last of Us. I skipped and read Legacy of Kain. I've just been so busy trying to, not be sick, deal with construction behind my house, and, keep a roof over our heads. I just haven't had a lot of reading time to myself. I'm trying to change that and get things a little more stable so I do have more time to read, and then I can do more overviews for you guys. But this was actually really well done. I really did like the art in here because I've flipped the book and I've seen it. It looks really good. Very action-packed. Horizon Zero Dawn was a great game. Forbidden West was that much better. I can't rave enough about any of these games, but Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, I mean, they're just great games, man. Sony is on point with their single-player games, man. No one can touch Sony when it comes to their single-player masterpiece games. Microsoft has some exclusives, I guess. I guess this generation, I don't want to, bring up the console war, because I don't believe there really should be one. I think we're all gamers, and we should all, have fun and enjoy the great games that we love in comic book format or on screen or whatever. But this console generation, I feel like Microsoft has really dropped the ball. They don't have hardly any exclusives for their system. I mean, Starfield just got announced, the release date just got announced, and that looks good. But I mean, Halo was terrible this time around. I haven't even finished it. And all the other games come to PC, so I really don't need an Xbox. But PlayStation, man, I'm getting ready to pre-order Spider-Man 2, which is the pre-order should be up this Friday. Well, for you folks watching this video, it should be up this last Friday. I'm not sure if I'm going to release this before then or not. We'll see. Here's all our covers for Horizon Zero Dawn. Man, my boy Franjo, man, you did a great job with these covers, man. I love them. Looks great. A little bit of history on what happened. Now, from what I hear, Netflix actually has a Horizon Zero Dawn show coming out about the fall. Because with Horizon Zero Dawn, if you guys don't know, for those of you that haven't played it, there was a cataclysmic event that basically plunged man back into the Stone Age, and several hundred or thousand years even later, it's kind of a steampunk thing where it's futuristic, but it's also very archaic. Machines, animals made out of machines, almost like dinosaurs, but they're machines. Such a great game. I really enjoyed it. I'm really excited to see what they do with the series, but I don't think it's going to have anything to do with Aloy. I think it's going to have to do with the person she's based off of, because she's basically a clone. But it's a great game series. I'm looking forward to the Netflix series. The art looks great on the book. All right, now we're going to get into the concept covers, which I love the concept gallery and the cover gallery. It's always fun for me. Oh, that's a great shot. Good stuff. All right, now we're going to move into Uncharted. Uncharted was basically Sony's answer to Tomb Raider. So, yeah, Uncharted was a really good game. I didn't play it at first because, like I said, I felt like it was a Tomb Raider ripoff, and I just didn't think it was going to be as good. But boy, was I wrong. I play them all now. I've played every single one. I just recently bought the PC versions. That I think they released 4, and that shorter version that was about his daughter or sister. I can't remember who it was about, but I'll have to go back and check that out again. It was a really short game, though. But Nathan Drake's got some great series out. The movie that came out with Tom Holland was okay, but here's my problem, folks. I went and saw, much like Deadpool had a little trailer made, to kind of entice the studios to make the movies. Uncharted had one made, but with Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake. And it was so good. Like, it looked like the game. They had it set up so it was very game-like, very arcade game-like. And it looked so good. He played the part so well, but the problem was they were looking for someone younger because they wanted to do more of an origin story. But, man, if you guys ever get into an older Nathan Drake, hire Nathan Fillion. He was really good in the role. All right, let's move on through here. Some great art. They got some good art on that one. Uncharted I liked. Okay, now here. All right, folks, this is the Legacy of Kain. Now, Legacy of Kain was one of the first PlayStation games I ever played on the original PlayStation. And when it came out, I was dumbfounded. It was Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, and Resident Evil 1. And I was like, they make games like this? I mean, I got to remember, back in the day when PlayStation came out, when Resident Evil came out and Legacy of Kain came out, people were just coming off things like Mario Brothers and Zelda. So we didn't know they had horror games like that, and it was amazing. And that's when my gaming career really blew up. I was always a fan. I always had a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo, a ColecoVision, an Atari, and the list goes on and on. But I never really got into it until Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, and Resident Evil 1. That's when the addiction. That's when the hobby became an addiction. But so we move on here to Legacy of Kain Defiance, which was, in my opinion, the best game in the series. Crystal Dynamics has got some polls out right now, folks, asking what people think about the Legacy of Kain and how they should go about rebooting or continuation or whatever with it. And I'm really hoping for a reboot of this game, guys. Or a continuation. It's so good, and they have so much content to work with. But this art is phenomenal. This story is even better. I'm a huge fan. If you haven't ever heard about Legacy of Kain, go check it out. Blood Omen was about Kain. He was a nobleman turned vampire, and it shows his path of destruction through Nosgoth as he becomes a vampire and builds his vampiric empire. Now, the other games were Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, and that was about Raziel, which I believe, yeah, here's Raziel, and that was about Soul Reaver, and he was the soul of the sword that Kain holds is called the Soul Reaver, and he was the soul of the Reaver. But it's such a great series. This kind of goes back through some past stuff of Raziel. So what happened was Raziel had evolved past Kain, where he grew wings, and Kain was a little jealous. And so he rips his wings off and throws them into the pit. A millennia passed, and he became a wraith, and he really came back to get his revenge on Kain and all of his brethren. The lore and story in this is so rich and in depth that I mean, see, there was only like 2 issues of that book too. There was a Soul Reaver and there was a Defiance, but I wanted to make sure it got in this book because I've never seen it anywhere else. Resistance. I guess I didn't do a Resistance 1, but Resistance Fall of Man was Sony's answer to Gears of War. So the difference is, Gears of War is a third-person shooter. Resistance Fall of Man is a first-person shooter. It's basically an alien invasion in, I think it was the World War II era, something like that. World War I. I think it was World War II. It's been a long time since I played those games, and honestly, I tried to go back and play one. Man, the controls are terrible now. They're just not great. Hoping for a reboot of the Resistance series because it was really good. I could live without it if it didn't happen, but it was still a really good series. I really enjoyed the story behind it, and I like how they tried to compete with Gears, but I'm sorry, Gears wins hands down. If ever I make another comic book, it's going to be I've discussed a Gears book. There is enough content to make a single book just out of Gears of War, so you might actually see that come down the line. But these books get so expensive, man. I don't know if I'm going to make any more. At least not for a while. I can't afford them right now. This last batch was like $700 or $800 for like 5 books. Or 4 books, 4 or 5. I don't know. It was expensive, and it's not my creator's fault. Materials go up. He has to raise the price. But yeah, great series, great stuff, and that, as they say, is that. And that's our overview for the custom PlayStation Comics Anthology Omnibus. I know this isn't standard comic content, but I'm also a gamer. I know all of you aren't, but I know that some of you are. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video with the PlayStation Comic Anthology. Sorry I haven't been around as of late. As many of you know, for new timers I'll re-explain, but as many of you know, I've been sick. I've got construction going on, so if you heard any light construction sounds, I apologize. I tried to filter it out as much as possible. But between grandkids living here and construction going on, I just haven't had a quiet moment. So I finally found one, and I went ahead and shot this video. But stick around, true believers. Bad Wolf Comics has more in store. I just got a fresh set of custom dust jackets from my boy Roy. And coming in the mail later today is my Uncanny X-Men Volume 5. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do some custom dust jackets for the Uncanny X-Men's Volumes 1 through 5. You'll see that in the coming weeks. I've also got dust jackets in this batch for the Jason Aaron Wolverines and the regular standard Wolverines 1 through 4, but that one won't come out obviously until the 4th volume comes out. Now I do buy 90% of my books from Organic Price Books. The only time I don't is when it's these customs or something I just can't find there. But for those of you that do shop at Organic Price Books, don't forget to use the code BADWOLF during checkout for $2 off your order. With that said, I am the Bad Wolf. This is Bad Wolf Comics. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.